Originally, when Two House got started, it was a form of British-Israelism. Bachewutin wrote multiple books on this. They all had huge errors in them. But ultimately, what she's advocated for and what really took off in the 90s was this idea that you have the Jews, right? You have like Jews who are from Judah, okay? And these are the Jews that we see walking around in terms of like what we think of as Jewish today. But then all the other tribes have been lost. And so if you feel some affinity towards keeping the Torah, if I'm a Christian and all of a sudden I have a love for Israel, or if I'm a Christian and I think that I think that I really want to start keeping the kosher laws, well, the reason why is because I'm actually one of the lost tribes. And so I need to embrace that and realize that I'm actually one of the lost tribes of Israel. But it got really weird. It got really weird. And what I mean by that is, like, I remember going to a conference one time. They were pushing this Bachewutin Two House Theology, and they had flags all around the auditorium. Like, it was a conference. They had put these flags up, right? And it was all the different tribes of Israel. And they would say things like, okay, what's your favorite color? I'm not joking on this, by the way. This actually happened. What's your favorite? If your favorite color is blue, you're probably from, Ephraim. So go stand under this flag. If you're left-handed, you're probably from Reuben. It was really, really weird. And so all these people are going and standing under these flags. And then people really believe this stuff. They were like, oh man, I found out I'm from the tribe of Benjamin because, my favorite color is green, and I really like, fill in whatever weird thing here. Yeah, so that's what it was. What it's kind of morphed into is now the younger, there's a new generation that's taken the idea of Two House Theology. And what they think of Two House Theology is what I described earlier as Messianic Judaism's view of the law, that there's one law for the Jews and there's one law for the Gentiles. And so Two House Theology would be like, oh, the Gentiles are over here. They're still God's people, but they keep a different law. They don't keep the laws that make people Jewish. And then over here is the Jews who keep all of the Torah. And so there's two houses. There's the Gentile and the Jews. This is not traditionally what Two House Theology was, but I think that that's how at least some people today understand it. The calendar she's advertising is the calendar that's correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Mike hits the nail on the head. The woman in the video, whatever calendar she's advocating for is the one that's correct, right? So she's come to some understanding of a calendar, but all the other calendars must be wrong. Then God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, and for days and years. Genesis 1:14, seasons equals Moedim, or the festivals. Exactly. Completely agree. Okay. So I know that was like a lot of rabbit trails. Having to try to define Hebrew roots and Messianic is difficult. I think the reason that it's so difficult is because, once again, they come from two different places. So a lot of people don't see them as different, but a lot of people do. And since they come from two different places, the reason I try to distinguish them is just from where they came from. In other words, Messianic Judaism to me seems to be more about practice, and there are some theological elements to it for sure. But Messianic Judaism does seem to be more about practice because we have so many different theological understandings within Messianic Judaism. But the Hebrew roots movement comes from a place where if you believe in Two House, if you believe in sacred name, if you believe in, Binitarianism, which was an Armstrong belief, there's a lot of Armstrong beliefs that kind of creep in. And then things that would be completely contrary to traditional Jewish values, like pronouncing the name of God. So once again, sacred nameism would be that. If you believe in an expanded canon, I think that you're touching on Hebrew roots, because I don't think that the Messianic movement or the Messianic Jewish movement as a whole really has embraced any of that. In fact, I think that has been pretty rejected by not only leadership in the Messianic Jewish movement, but also by the people in the pews. Continue listening to this conversation by clicking the full show link on the left side of your screen, or check out the video on the right that YouTube thinks you'll like. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you never miss content from Messiah Matters.